Hi, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. If you're new here, hi, my name is Liv. I am a Colorado makeup artist. I love everything that is makeup and beauty related. My job is to make you feel as beautiful on the outside as you are on the inside. I love trying new products, discussing makeup, and sharing all the tips and tricks that I have learned throughout my journey. Today's agenda, I thought we would go ahead and do something that I have been wanting to do since the day I got married on August 27th, and today we are going to recreate my wedding makeup. So if you're interested in how my makeup was done for my wedding, stick around. Before we get going, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will get going. I will say I don't have the same exact products that the makeup artist I hired to do my makeup used, but I will do my best because some of them were my products because we did 2 trial runs and the first run didn't go so great. So on the second run we used some of my actual products, which is what we used for the day of. So if they're my products, I'll let you know they were specifically mine, but there's a good handful of them that were hers, part of her kit, and I don't know what she used. For my skin prep, I already did all my skincare and applied sunscreen. She did use a primer on me. I'm not sure what it was, but I'm just going to be using the one that I used most of the summer, which is from Milk. It's the Pore Eclipsing Mattifying Primer. And I have been using this one basically since it was released. It has been working really well for my skin. I have combination leaning very oily skin, especially in the summer. My T-zone is hard to tame, but this stuff actually did really well. If you are not new to my channel, you may be thinking my background looks a little different. I am currently at our ranch house on the northwest side of Colorado. Typically, I've been filming downstairs in front of one of our giant windows, but lately the sun has not been in my favor, so I actually stole one of our rooms from upstairs, which was just a bedroom, and turned it into a studio. And the cool thing was this was actually my bedroom growing up, so it's no longer pink. We painted it yellow and white. The 2 far walls are yellow and this wall is white. So it's just kind of a little surreal to be back in my childhood bedroom. So for foundation, we did end up using my Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation. For my first trial run, we actually did Airbrush. She asked me if I wanted to try it because she was new to it and she was just offering the service to kind of play with it and see what skin types it worked on. But Airbrush did not work for my skin type at all. Like, it wasn't even an hour later where the foundation just started to crack, which was very hard for me to let her know because my makeup artist is someone I truly respect and I knew of her before and had watched her business grow. So I didn't want to be like, I don't like your makeup when I do like her makeup because I'd been watching her Instagram grow and her makeup journey for a long time. So I wanted to be nice about it, but at the same time, like, it was my wedding and I was like, I just need to tell her, which is what I recommend to anybody who's going through that. It is better to just tell your makeup artist what you don't like than to try to live through it and then your day comes and you just don't like your makeup. Tell them. I promise you it'll be worth it. So I did tell her, and then I had a meeting with our wedding coordinator. She was going to be our day of coordinator and help me put some things together. And those two actually live pretty close to each other. The towns that they live in are pretty close to each other. So the makeup artist hitched a ride with our wedding coordinator, came to the ranch, met with me, and we did a whole second trial. Loved the way it turned out. We used this foundation. We switched some other techniques, which I will get to later. And it was just beautiful. It worked out really well. And if you're wondering, she was not offended at all when I told her I didn't like the airbrush. In fact, I was not the first person with my skin type, the combination to oily skin type, that has told her this, like, that technique of applying foundation the airbrush way doesn't work very well for that skin type. And I don't know if it's specifically the product that has to go into the machine, like that product in general just doesn't work, or if something in the machine just messes with the product and kind of changes the formula where it doesn't work with very oily skin. So she was not offended at all. And the funny thing is, my shade of my foundation is actually in her kit. Unfortunately, I don't know what type of concealer she used, so I'm just going to go in with my Jouer Essential Concealer. I love this concealer so much. I've been using it consistently for probably a year and a half. And it is full coverage, along with the foundation is pretty medium leaning full coverage, which is my aesthetic and what we went with. I have very rosy cheeks, and I definitely wanted to cover the redness on my face for my wedding. I'm pretty sure I completely skipped over on who I hired to be our wedding makeup artist. Her name is Sarah Vance. She runs Beauty by Vance. I will leave her Instagram in the description below. She's phenomenal. I've been following her for a few years now. I got to see all of her schooling. I've gotten to see how her Halloween makeup has just grown so much. It's just so cool to be able to follow her and to see the progress that she's made. And then I got to hire her to be a part of our big day. So I will leave her Instagram below. She is out of Granby, Colorado. I think it's Granby. It might be Grand Lake. Either way, they're like right next to each other. Like, I don't think it even takes you 2 minutes to drive from one to the other. But she is in that area, and she does like eyelash extensions, spray tans, and then makeup services. So if you're in the area and you just want to go treat yourself, she posts all of her availability on her Instagram stories. So if you are interested in her, be sure to check out her Instagram and you can book directly with her. And she's wonderful. I don't know what powder she used, but I am going to go in with my Huda Beauty, what is this? The Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. This is in the shade Cupcake, which has a little bit of a pink undertone. So I'm just going to stop my under eyes for right now because we did use a cream kind of bronzer contour, but my eyes will set really quickly. I am also trying out Rose and Ben Beauty's new puff. This is the first time I've gotten to use it, and it's so cool. It's so squishy, and I really like the tip. The tip itself is kind of like a more ball, and then it goes into the triangle. It's so cool. So for the cream bronzer contour, I have been loving this one from Charlotte Tilbury. It's her new Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Glow Bronzer. This is not the one Sarah used, but it's the one I'm going to use because it's been working for me all summer, and it's really nice. If you're curious, my bronzer shade is in the shade 2. This particular product is a little weird. It goes from like fair to medium. There's not light, which is what I normally fall in. Fair was gonna be too light for me, so when I purchased this, I was like, we'll just go ahead with the medium and see how it goes. So those are all the creams we used. I'm now gonna take my powder again and my new puff and set the rest of my face because we definitely did that. She definitely set me up for success when it came to trying to keep my oils at bay. Next, we did go in with a powder bronzer. I'm using my Patrick Ta cream contour and powder bronzer duo, but I don't use the contour very much, so I'm just going to go in with the powder. I happen to know which powder bronzer she used. It's the chocolate one from Too Faced, which it wore beautifully, but when it applied, it smelled like chocolate, which was just like a perk because my nerves were so... like, I was so jittery on the day that just the smell of chocolate just kind of like, hey, that's kind of nice. I think it was a little bit like of a treat, but maybe you don't think so. But it was a really nice bronzer and it wore beautifully. I don't have it though, so this is the one that we're going to use today. And I did not end up spray tanning for my wedding, but she did a really good job making sure like the makeup flowed really beautifully into like the rest of my body. So during our first trial, we did do blush and then highlight, but I wasn't thrilled with the highlight. I think it was too light for me. So when we did our second trial, I asked if we could just do like a glowy blush rather than a blush and then a highlight. And I don't know what blush she used, but for today we're going to be using the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow Blush. And I for sure know that this is a glowy blush, which does not require to have a highlight on top of it. And I'm using the shade Venetian Rose because the shade she used was pretty pink, and this is the closest shade of this formula that I think would match what she used. But this is one of my favorite blush formulas anyway, so wasn't miserable to pull it out of my collection here. But I don't know if you can see, like, it's just got this beautiful glow, which I did not cover up with highlight. And we put a little on my nose, and this was the face. I don't know what eye primer she used, so I'm just going to be using my Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I have hooded eyes, so putting a primer down really helps eyeshadow not crease so hard in that hood. But even if you don't have hooded eyes, I would recommend putting eyeshadow primer down because it also helps just the longevity of your eyeshadow. Like, the pigment will stay there longer as well. So the eyeshadow palette was another product that I really wanted to use. It is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. In particular, I really wanted to use the two shimmers because I really, really like them. So I'm just going to use this palette, but these specific brown tones might be a little bit different than what she used, but we did a pretty standard smoky eye. And then she let me use these two shades, and then I also put a glitter topper, which is the Auric Smoke Reflex. This is in the shade Defiance. She let me use my glitter topper to go over these shimmers, and I loved how it turned out. So I'm going to go into this shade first, which is called Transition. And basically, I'm going to start placing it in my crease and a little bit above. So basically, we took the lightest brown shade that we used and took it all the way from my crease to my brow bone. Next, I'm going to go into this shade, which is the crease shade. I'm just going to use the same brush. And we just deepened up my crease area a little bit. And then we took a darker brown, which this is Smoke in this palette, and applied that to the outer corner here. And I mean, we did a smoky eye, which is the general direction of this, but it wasn't super deep. Like, we didn't use black. I don't think we used black. Shoot, now I don't remember. But I'm going to leave it like this. And I'm going to go into the first shimmer shade here, which is called Outer Corner. And this goes right kind of on the outer third to meet that dark brown and in the center. First of all, this is one of my all-time favorite palettes from Natasha. I have a handful of her palettes, but I still come back to this one all the time, so it just made sense for me to use it on my wedding day. Sarah didn't use her fingers, but because it's my face and my fingers, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But she did follow sanitary rules. And then we're going to go into this shimmer, which is Inner Corner. I'm going to use my finger and place it on the inner corner and meet it with the outer corner shade. So it looked a little something like that. I am going to go into the blending brush that we used for those first two shades and just kind of do a little blending of these shimmers. And because I am a sparkly person, I was okay if the shimmers really came up pretty high. I will say the shimmers in this palette do have a lot of fallout, which I gave Sarah a fair warning about because we did my face first, just like this. She made it look beautiful anyways. There was like little to no fallout. And then next I'm going to go into my Defiance topper. Again, Sarah used tools to apply it, but I'm just going to use my finger. And we just placed it all over to just add a little extra. And then the lower lash line was pretty simple. We just used the two darkest browns. So I'm just going to take crease and run that from corner to corner. And then I'm going to go into the Smoke shade, which is the darkest brown, and just apply it a little bit on this outer third here to connect it to the top lash. And this was the eyeshadow. I did purchase a Maybelline Sky High for the wedding, so we did use my actual mascara. And then she applied lashes, but they were kind of smaller. They were grouped into like threes. So we used about 4 to go across the lid. 4 total little clumps to go across the lid. And they were beautiful. Unfortunately, at the time, my eyelashes were not growing. They were really short and there was no length to them at all. So the individual lashes helped make it look really natural and really beautiful. and I loved them. I am on the hunt to actually purchase them for my own kit because I loved them so much. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my mascara, and then I'll show you how we did the brows. So for the brows, I don't know what brow palette she used, but I have one from Beauty Creations. It's the Eyebrow Definer Powder Book, and I'm just going to be using this ash brown. So we used powder to fill in my brows, but we used the ABH Brow Freeze. Don't mind me, I'm sitting really close to my mirror here. We used the ABH Brow Freeze to set my brows, and we used the Brow Freeze during the first trial, and I immediately fell in love with it. My brows looked so good on that first trial day. And then the second trial, she didn't actually have the product with her, and I was like, I know we're gonna use it, so I'm not even worried about testing that specific product out. But immediately after that first trial, I went and bought the product because I loved it so much. So that's what we used to hold them up, and it worked beautifully. I normally just use my Benefit Gimme Brow and my Kosas Air Brow, and they're two different gels, but they're different colors, so they work really well. It's a lot quicker than this. But for bridal wear, I understand why you... I'm looking in the viewfinder, and it's like Instagram worthy eyebrow, everyday reality. No eyebrow. Sorry, that was funny. This eyebrow looks really good in camera. Now in my mirror, it's not perfect, but on camera, we're pretty close. So I'm gonna take it. I also had my brows waxed and tinted for the wedding, so we didn't have to do too much filling. Whereas now I'm due for a wax and tint. Alright, they don't look too bad. This is definitely my good eyebrow. Now we're going to go into the brow freeze. So we're just going to push them up. And the nice thing about this product is if you get them to stand too straight, you can just kind of manipulate it a little bit. And because it's this really nice wax, it will just stay. And then if you feel like you missed any spots, you just go back in. But now your hairs are where you want them to be. So I love this stuff. I'm so happy Sarah showed it to me. And then for lips, I also provided my own lips. We didn't even, our first trial we did lips, but I was pretty sure that like I was going to come up with my own lip situation. And then our second trial run, we didn't even do lips because I told her I hadn't figured it out yet. So my lips were a bit of a surprise for her on the day of. But what I ended up going with was the Rare Beauty Kind Words Matte Lip Liner. This is in the shade Humble. I don't know if you've tried any of the Rare Beauty lip liners or their lipsticks, the matte lipsticks, but the longevity of them is amazing, which is why I wanted to pick this product. And then I went on the hunt for a super long lasting lip product. I purchased a Dior one, a Stila Beauty one, and then I actually ended up getting the Urban Decay, whatever this was called. It was super popular. So it's a liquid lip, which surprised me because I'm not a liquid lip person, but I had seen so many good reviews on it. And this shade, it's called Textum, was so perfect for what I wanted that I went to 3 different Sephoras to find the only one out on display of this shade. This was the last one in 3 different Sephoras that I went to. And I actually found it on my way out. Like I purchased what I wanted at Sephora and then I found it on the way out. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab that, and then I went right back to the register. And I mean, those 2 colors, these 2 go together so well, and I will say my lipstick lasted all the way until dinner. Because we did all of our photos, all of the bride and groom photos, and then all of our wedding party photos and parent photos before the ceremony. And then after the ceremony, we did extended family photos. And so then we went to dinner, and that's how long my lipstick lasted. So if you're interested in a very good long-lasting combo, this is one for you. We did use setting spray. I don't know what she used. Currently, what I've been using is the Too Faced Peach Mist Mattifying Setting Spray. My nozzle is broken, like the thing in there broke, so it comes out like daggers. So I actually spray my sponge and then dab my sponge off so it's not soaking wet. And then I will apply it with my sponge. But I already did that. So this is the look Sarah and I created for my wedding. Not our wedding, but she was part of our wedding. And I loved it. I love our photos. I've been sharing some photos with you throughout the video. And I loved it. Absolutely. It was a wonderful day. Sarah is amazing. If you're an upcoming bride and you don't want to book with me, I would recommend checking out Sarah because she is phenomenal. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out so very much. Don't forget to ring the bell and hit all on your notifications and you'll be notified every time I post a video. I am here twice a week and I can't wait to see you next time. So in the meantime, be natural, be beautiful,